Hey there, everybody. It's meteorologist Jamie Singleton here. It is 9:30 on the dot. It's one of the first few times I've actually started right on the dot when I said in my description I would start. Usually it's like 5 or 10 minutes later. Um, I may look a little different because I was getting things ready and I was adjusting my webcam light, fancy little light I use, and I guess I shocked it because it's been happening a lot here in the studio, and it shorted out. It's been one of those days. But anyway, I've adjusted other factors here, so I'm not the important part of this anyway. I want you to see what's going on. We already have snow falling across the New River Valley from Dublin into Wytheville and then the Max Meadows as well. It's just rain right now, but that is expected still to change over to snow. We'll be fighting this battle throughout the night between the warm ground that we had as a result of temperatures that were in the lower 50s today. And even in North Carolina, it got to near 60 today. And that was one of my fears earlier in the week when I was kind of downplaying this event. But this is still coming through at a cold part of the night. So the most moisture is going to be falling from now through about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and that will probably offset the melting that will occur to some degree. We're probably going to cut into our snow totals, our potential snow totals, quite a bit along and east of the Blue Ridge Parkway because, again, of the warm ground and temperatures right now, if you look at them, are still in the 40s here. Even at the TV station, we were right at 40. We were at 41 just a little moment ago. Roanoke and the urban heat island there still at 43. 41 Martinsville, 43 in Danville. So it's going to get harder to put the snow down and have it stick here than it is in the NRV, where it's already changing over to snow. But you can see the difference that makes once we start to get that moisture to set in. It's 33 and snowing pretty hard in Dublin right now. Visibility at a mile, 1.25 miles actually. 33 in Hillsville. It's 35 in Wytheville, 30 in Richlands. So yeah, there's some colder air that will get in here, and this is kind of like, in a way, our Christmas Eve snow, where we had it starting out warm, and then we had to rely on the upper air support to kind of linger behind the cold air to get this to happen. Now, this upper air support is the same that I've looked at for the past couple of days. That didn't change, but as I described on my Patreon page, we do have a little boundary that has set up here, and I can show you that here on this weather map. And the precip type went out on me here. Incep is having some issues with their radar data, and you can see just as the snow line was moving in, went away. But you can still look at everything and kind of get an idea. But you see this surface trough here in brown. That is separating, let me make this a little bigger for you here. That is separating winds coming in out of the northeast across Franklin County, across Lynchburg. We've got a northeast wind. And that's hitting this wind that's coming in out of the north and the northwest. So there's a leftover front is what I'm saying. And that has allowed this low to develop sooner. It was originally just supposed to form off the coast and jet east, but because of this front and this inverted trough, we now have, a more developed system sooner, and we're able to get the moisture in here. Now, I've got a lot on the map here, but I do want to show you. Let's turn the satellite off temporarily here. That blue line is where the rain snow line is in the atmosphere. So if you go up to about 5,000 feet, that's the melting line. So anything, technically it's snowing, aloft right now, just off the ground in Franklin County and into Roanoke and into the Martinsville area. But, obviously it's melting in that 43-degree air. Over the next 2 hours or so, it is going to start to mix and then change to snow. There could even be some sleet in between briefly, but this will continue to move off to the east as the upper air support is still way off to the west. You can see kind of a dry slot going in from Nashville, so that could be a player too. You always have to watch those dry slots to see if they can cut off the precip. But the thinking is this low develops and it kind of pinwheels the moisture around. So the whole system is kind of oozing south and east aloft as it kind of swings through the area. I'm going to show you a few more things here. Let me zoom this back out, show you some of the snow reports and where it is snowing right now. We'll put our weather up here. These are the observing stations, okay? So this is where the rain snow line is based on some observations that I can see right now. So it's raining in Roanoke, raining in Blacksburg, but you are not too far away from seeing snow in Blacksburg because just up the road in Dublin, it's snowing. So right around Radford is where that changeover is right now. There's also snow falling in Hillsville, moderate to heavy snow right now in the Wytheville. There's already an inch of snow on the ground in Dickinson County, Virginia, and all of our West Virginia locations, and now including the Hot Springs, Ingalls area, reporting snowfall. So the only spot now that we've yet to change over is going to be through probably about midnight to 1 a.m., Roanoke, Martinsville, and east. It's midnight to 4 a.m. where we're going to get most of this snow to fall. I mentioned that inverted trough that we've got. This is something called Frontogenesis, and I did want to I tweeted it out a second ago, but this is where you've got two air masses or the same air mass with two slightly different characteristics kind of coming together. So we've got the warm air mass over North Carolina, and it just updated. That's pretty cool. Where temperatures, again, have been in the 50s and 60s today for highs. We've got this colder air mass, and we were able just to get a little bit of that cold air drawn into the picture this evening for, again, a more impressive snow forecast overall. It's still no huge storm, but that's coming down from the northeast. And so everything kind of clashes together here across south side, and there's an inverted trough where that wind shift is across the Allegheny Highlands. It's where the air is being pushed together. And when you push together air, it doesn't go into the ground because it can't. When you push together air, it rises because that's the only direction it can go. It goes up. And that's what creates the lift. That does two things. It wrings out moisture, and that's typically where we see the heaviest snowfall in a winter setup like this, and that actually is correlating on the radar. If you look at that, that's where the heaviest returns are right now. But it's also where we have some cooling taking place because as you lift the air, it expands, and we cool the column down, and all we need is like 1 or 2 more degrees, and we can change it over to snow for a few more folks. So I'm watching that very carefully. This is the upper level energy with the system, and it's a little hard to see, but you can see how that's been. Let me look at something else here, see if I can get it on this. There's a jet max around here. There's a dip in the jet stream. There's the upper level low. As we move through the next 2 to 6 hours, the really cold air aloft will get into this thing. The jet streak goes on the south side of us, but it's really the curvature of that wind is going to be doing it for us here. So this is the latest HER model. This is a look at hourly model that I get, and it goes in the high resolution. So to get your bearings here, you're looking at Roanoke here, and you're looking at the NRV back and through here. There's the North Carolina state line. And so you can't take this to heart because no model is going to be perfect. I mentioned there's a huge bust potential, especially east of the mountains where warmer ground could just, lead to slush and very minimal accumulations. That's a chance. That's a chance. Somewhere in between is probably a good idea because there's also a huge boom potential here across the highest elevations where it's already sticking. And so we may end up with a wide range of totals, but looking at the latest HER, this was the 0Z anyway, we've got 4 to 5 inches across most of the NRV, but in this area, and this is where I had on my forecast 4 to 8 inch totals, we've got some 4 to 8 inch amounts. And I've seen amounts up to 10 inches on some of the modeling here. That would be across Giles County and the Bland County, Tazewell County, Wythe County, Grayson County. And I do think Floyd County is going to come out pretty good. Benton Mountain too. May get up around 4 or 5 inches, maybe even up to 6. That's where you're seeing the purple there right along the parkway. That technically includes Cahays Mountain in the Franklin County. But for most of us regular folks that live elsewhere, it's about 2 to 3 to 4 inches through this area, and that actually takes it up to the peaks of water and right up to Bedford and Lynchburg, where some 2-inch amounts there are highlighted. But again, I'm not sure this really takes into account the warmer ground. But notice that we do still see there's kind of a jump here between the first low and the second low that gets going. along the coast tonight. So we do see another band here of some impressive snow amounts, 3 to 4 to 5 inch snowfall amounts, at least on the modeling, from Greensboro to Raleigh and even east into Greenville. But again, low level warm air and that low level surface is something that you always have to watch out for. This is let me look at the rapid update cycle for you. I like to look at this with the HER that we just looked at to kind of get an idea of what's going on. So you can see the rain that's falling on the front edge of this. The low is down here near Charlotte. So again, this came in stronger and stronger over the past couple of days, and it's interacting with that. See how the isobars kink up there across the highlands? That's interacting with that, kind of siphons that moisture north into Virginia. It also helps keep us in a northeasterly wind versus northwest. And the thinking earlier, a couple of days ago, was that we would only have this low off here, the coast of South Carolina, that would take everything in from the northwest, and it would downslope us and kill our snowfall chances. But with the second and the quicker low developing, it's the quicker picker-upper for snowfall because it's able to get the wind in from the northeast that keeps the moisture around while bringing in the colder air. So again, it's going to be between now and 1 a.m. now, and well, really it's only 9:41. So I'd say by midnight, and this is midnight on the modeling. That's the wrap. So at midnight, the rain snow line should be right near Danville, right near Martinsville, but it should be snowing by midnight in Franklin County, and then to Roanoke and Lynchburg and Bedford, Smith Mountain Lake as well. And some of these higher amounts farther north kind of grab my attention as well. We'll wait and see. I do think that Lynchburg could see less because of the warmer ground, but we'll wait and see what happens as we now cast this from this point on. But notice this is the first low. Here's the second low. The upper level system is not a classic snowmaker for us. It's coming in more out of the northwest than it is the southwest. It's still enough, close enough to where it's producing the lift, and we've got just enough moisture, just enough cold air. So we're riding the line in so many ways here, as we have all winter. It's a La Nina winter that tends to block the Gulf off, which is where we get our good snows, and take everything across the Ohio Valley, and that's kind of what the deal is now. That's why it's been like this all winter. But we do have some blocking up to the north that's able to kink this stuff around. So, we'll wait and see. That's the wrap. Let me show you the latest snowfall amounts. Should mention while I'm on this graphic here, this tapers off. The heavy stuff tapers off around 4 o'clock in the morning. The snow itself doesn't taper off until maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. There may be some lingering flurries throughout the day tomorrow too, especially in the mountains. But most of for Roanoke and areas to the south and east, most of the stuff that's going to stick is going to fall between midnight and 4 a.m. So we've got about a 4 or 5 hour window where we can pick up that snowfall. So it's going to have to really put it down. If you want to get to the top of my range where you want to see 5 inches or so, it's going to have to pour down. That said, it looks like it is going to pour down in these dark blue areas. So it's not as if the model isn't showing that, and that's why we had to up some of the snowfall amounts today. Again, some of them, even the GFS went very high. Even the new GFS that's in the experimental phase went very high for our area. This is my secret weapon that's not so secret anymore because I keep talking about it. This is the short range forecast ensemble, or Ensemble Forecast. And this is the new 21Z run. This is a blend of a bunch of different models. And I talked about this some on my Facebook and Patreon as well. But this is an average of all the short range ensembles blended together and kind of shows you a mean here of what to look at. And it's kind of hard to see on the map, but I'm zooming it in a little bit more for you. It's got about 2 to 3 inches there where you see, well, the 3 is in the yellow. So anywhere that you see the yellow, the blend is about 3 inches. And that actually does include Roanoke technically here. If you take this model image here, verbatim, it's got 4 to 5 inches there in the red area. So 3, 3.5, 4 inches. I think in Franklin County we're going to be kind of close to 2. Roanoke's going to be closer probably to 1. That's my guess. Roanoke's elevation, though, could help you a little bit, but right now, again, you're still in the lower 40s. But I do think this area here from I-77 and west is going to be the big winner, even Floyd County and parts of the NRV. But this model indicates, too, that you've got some sticking snow even in the Raleigh, which is going to be very interesting because, again, highs today were not so cold at all. It was kind of a mild day. Here's a closer look at the radar picture with the precip typing on. My other sources do have their precip type working. As you see the line there still near Pulaski. And depending on the software, you can see different lines kind of showing up in the same vicinity. But again, still 43 Roanoke, 42 Lynchburg, but heavy snow now from Tazewell into Smith County and the Wytheville County. It's probably going to be a rough night on the interstate heading down 81 tonight out of the NRV. And all roads have the potential to become very slick once we see that changeover, because as things change over, that's when the snow is going to be falling the heaviest. The moisture will be falling the most intense. And it will be like that, again, for several hours. So it's one of those situations where if this was coming through in the middle of the afternoon, we probably wouldn't have much accumulation. Because it actually is coming through during the late night, early morning hours, that's a good time if you want snow to fall and stick when you have marginal temperatures like this. So, it's going to be tricky. The National Weather Service has us under a winter weather advisory in most areas for various, snowfall amounts that they're forecasting. They rely heavily on the National Weather Service blend of models. And this is not just an average. What I showed you a second ago was kind of an average. This average is computed almost every hour. But they take into account the Euro, the GFS, the 51 different ensembles for the Euro, the SREF, which I just showed you. There's 2 spreadsheets full of different models. There's about 115 of them that this takes into account. And they're weighted in terms of accuracy. So every day, this model, the blend of models, figures out which model is the most accurate. And whichever model has been the most accurate, they're weighted in that order to account for biases within the modeling itself. It's pretty fascinating, actually. And this is the future. Hopefully, you'll still be able to get different forecasts because I like being different. But anyway, I did want to show you this. Roanoke, it has Roanoke City there at 1 inch. It has Danville at nearly 2 inches. This is going to be a more conservative model because it has all the different models into account here. But it's still showing some impressive amounts. Advisory level snow is about 1 inch, and that's where we have a good part of the Roanoke Valley, even into again, the peaks of otter off the parkway there, and it's even got Lynchburg at 2 inches. I'm not so sure about that, but I do think you'll get a coating probably in Lynchburg. A coating is what I define as 1.5 inches or less. Higher amounts, the bullseye is going to be across Floyd County, Grayson County, Carroll County, into Pulaski, and then if you get up here across Giles County, it's got some 4 to 5 inch amounts, even up to 6 in some of these spots. I've got 4 to 8 in this little area here. That's I-77 and west. But it's a swath that, if this goes north or south too, it could be, there could be a sharp cutoff with this as well. Already looked at the NAM, already looked at that. Yep, so I think that's all you need to see for right now. I do want you to keep in mind this will be a changing forecast. My GR software, Gibson Ridge software, says that it could be snowing right now on top of Mint Mountain. So folks in Floyd County, Mint Mountain, let me know. Also, if you're in the highest elevations elsewhere, it looks like my software is figuring out the elevation and the particles up in the atmosphere and what the freezing level is, and it's showing you that snow level is indeed dropping. So if you look at this across Floyd, the town may be seeing still rain, but outside of town in the county could be seeing some snow. Franklin County is seeing rain, but if you go up in elevation, go up near the parkway, it could be snowing right now. And that's what we're looking at too elsewhere as this continues to get colder and colder. The profile from the top down is going to get colder. It's harder to get that to happen, by the way, from the top down. Christmas Eve, we actually had a little bit of the reversal where we had the cold air undercut the moisture. In this case, it's more of a top-down process, and that can be hard to do. But our saving grace, again, is going to be this upper low that's still way off to the west here. And you can see the radar only goes out this far out of Blacksburg. So it's filling in, and it's getting pretty heavy there in the pink. That's some very heavy snow around Bluefield, the Beckley, big fat flakes I'm sure from Marion and the Saltville here. And half-mile visibility confirms that at the Wytheville Mountain Empire Airport. Snowing very heavily there along Interstate 81, so no doubt things will be getting slick there in a real big hurry. It's also snowing in Jefferson and then Boone, and again, it won't take long, maybe another 2 hours or so for it to move and get to the lower elevations as well. We are holding some of that warmer air in. We're still at 42 in the Henry County, dew point of 39. Still at 42 in Roanoke and then Lynchburg again. We're holding on to some of that warmer air, unfortunately for you snow lovers, because the clouds are also acting as a blanket. And there's a battle going on between the cold coming down from the cloud down to the ground. Snowflakes will drag that cold down over time, and the moisture as it's trying to also move through the area. Let me leave you with one last wide look at everything. Blacksburg, by the way, now reporting snow. That has changed since we started this broadcast just about 21 minutes ago. So things will be changing fast over the next couple of hours. If you're watching this on the delay, keep in mind that things are changing every 20 to 30 minutes. And so what I've been saying may have been, changed by then. But you can see how this moisture actually extends all the way back across Kentucky. One thing I'll mention too about the dry slide, I talked about that a second ago. The dry slide's not really going to move so much north because the actual disturbance is coming down like this. The actual disturbance is coming down from Evansville to Nashville to Knoxville to Charlotte. It's going to do like this. So that puts our area in this part of the swath. And that's where we're getting some 1 to 3 inch amounts where it has been colder today, but kind of giving you an idea of some of the storm reports. These are verified ground reports that are coming in to the local National Weather Service offices, and they're putting them out right now. And you can see how those verified reports are also getting in closer to the area. So heavy snow in the Mountain Empire. It's transitioning right now into Blacksburg. It'll be going into Roanoke, the snow line, Roanoke, and elsewhere between midnight and 1 a.m.